someone under arrest for DUI, okay?
A Williamson County mother is arrested for DUI and felony child neglect. Her son in the back seat, taken away and placed in DCS custody for 9 weeks.
But WSMV4 Investigates has uncovered she was never drunk in the first place. Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley, you've been looking into this. Jeremy, how on earth did this happen?
Well, Tracy Marius, it's important to say first, this Williamson County nurse was not arrested for how she was driving, rather because of her perceived behavior before she got behind the wheel in a parking lot. Now, what you are about to see is a real wake-up call about what could happen if you're suspected of driving drunk and you're sober.
She's just really off to me.
September 22nd, 2019, a concerned worker at a Williamson County daycare calls police about a mother's behavior.
She came in and was circling in here, scratching her head, talking to herself.
That mother, Katie Slayton, says it was her first day off after working 41 hours in 3 days as a nurse treating COVID patients. I've seen the videos, and you do look shaky.
Yeah.
You can understand why the officers might have had concern.
I think it's basically, fight or flight. It's my maternal instincts are going off.
Come on, Rambo.
Maternal instincts because her son was running on the sidewalk
Come on, buddy.
and got upset when police took him inside the daycare as she underwent the field sobriety test.
I just realized, they're taking control of my son, and at that point, I start shaking.
While body camera footage shows an officer saying this.
I don't smell any alcohol.
Her performance on the test resulted in an arrest.
You're under arrest for DUI.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
And not just DUI, felony child neglect. A single mother with no family in Tennessee. It meant her son went into DCS custody for 9 weeks until a psychologist cleared her to regain custody.
There was nothing I could do at that point. I felt completely powerless.
It would ultimately take 6 months to get the blood test back, showing she was completely sober at the time. The charges dropped.
Just seeing myself charged with that, it was just horrifying to me.
But there's something else in that blood test, showing she tested positive for amphetamine, taken according to an evaluation by a psychologist for ADHD, a complex brain disorder that, if untreated, can make following directions difficult.
Just left foot on the line, right foot in front of it.
In fact, other attorneys across the country point out the possibility of untreated ADHD on their websites, including how can ADHD be confused for a DUI? But ADHD specialist Dr. Ari Tuckman says if someone is properly medicated, their ADHD shouldn't play a factor in a field sobriety test.
It's certainly possible that ADHD could add to the difficulties they might have compared to anybody else. That could be true. I still think that the most of it is just the stress that anybody would experience.
And remember, Slayton was treated for ADHD and on her medication. And she tells the officers.
She's been taking Adderall. She has, ADD.
Are you sure you took your medication this morning? You didn't take it any time past then?
And she was still arrested. You ultimately have someone who was sober arrested for a DUI.
Essentially, and so she did show positive for her prescribed medication, but they were very much within therapeutic levels.
WSMV4 Investigates repeatedly emailed and called Franklin Police for an interview, but the chief denied that request, noting in an email that the Williamson County magistrate found probable cause to support charges and warrants were obtained. Due to potential litigation, the Franklin Police Department will not be able to comment further. Slayton maintains her failure on the sobriety test was because of all the stress, and due to the fallout from it, she's leaving the state.
They have traumatized my son, they have traumatized me, and they have driven a nurse with a clean record in 3 states straight out of Franklin, Tennessee.
Katie Slayton says she did ask Franklin Police to review how her arrest was handled. She says she was told it was reviewed and no wrongdoing was found. She says she also asked for an apology, but none was given. Marius?
Wow, great story, Jeremy. Thank you.